Meanwhile, the new guidelines, which put benchmark to some of the verification procedures for nurses, among others, has continued to face backlash and rejection from Nigerian nurses. Tobi Sanusi completes the rest of the story.
We find the circular absurd, and as we reject some of the content of the circular in its entirety.
Late last year, Nigerian nurses started experiencing difficulty on their verification portal, a situation some had blamed on technical glitch, only to be greeted with the new circular issued by the Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria, Nmcn, on new measures for certificate verification. For Adewale Abokede, a mental health nurse at the Uniosun Teaching Hospital, Osogbo, the Osun State capital, the new policy by the Nmcn is targeted at frustrating Nigerian nurses.
One, we believe the circular is against nurses, is targeted against nurses in Nigeria, particularly nurses that are trying to fend for themselves, looking at the economic situation of the country. One, we believe that as nurses, there is freedom of movement for us as Nigerians, and nurses should not be denied access to move into seeking greener pastures and working wherever they so wish. Nurses are known to be peaceful in the country, and that is why the country is still as calm as this. Professions or other professionals will have shut their sector down.
Part of the requirements in the circular is that nurses will be mandated to wait for a minimum of 6 months to process their verification and will be required to produce a letter from the Chief Executive Officer, CMD, of their respective places of work, a procedure regarded as exploitative and overly exaggerated by a Nigerian nurse, Omotola Olajide. Mrs. Olajide also criticized how the NMCN body revised the verification fee from less than 70,000 naira to 300,000 naira.
We are now wondering why they now say that before we can be verified, we should go back to where we are working to get approval letter from our CEO or our CMD before we will be verified. Knowing fully well that we registered, we sat for the exam under them, they made sure the exam was done in a standard way that's supposed to be done, and we were qualified to be nurses. We now wonder why we should go back to where we work. And aside that, they said we should go back to our school. The school that we studied for like 3 years, the school that presented us for final exam, the school that received our results, displaying that we passed. Why do we now have to go back to them for them to verify us before we can make progress? It is totally unacceptable. They have increased the money from 69,000 to 300,000. That means before a nurse can be verified, if it is a nurse that is being paid peanuts, he or she has to save for like months before he or she can be verified. And aside that, telling us to go to our CEO, to go back to our school, we place unnecessary exploitation on us.
Like they have said, the issue of 6 months, for us, we believe it's retrogressing and it's targeted against our well-being. Something that can be done within 24 hours, maximum 48 hours. We are now raising the bar to a minimum of 6 months.
The policy is believed to be aimed at reducing the rate at which Nigerian nurses leave for the United Kingdom and other developed countries in search for greener pastures. However, many Nigerian nurses, including Raji Ismail, who works in a government hospital, wants the government to provide a rather conducive working system and better remuneration for nurses. He says these will reduce brain drain in the Nigerian health sector.
Talking about the shortage of staff, they now said that is the reason why they are moving to other countries. There's no shortage of staff in the sense that they are the ones that are not ready to employ staffs. We have many graduates, nursing graduates, that are supposed to work for us in this country, but they didn't employ them, and they cannot employ themselves. It's not possible to increase our salary. If they treat us well, we will stay now.
The hopes of younger generation of Nigerian nurses who may want to practice abroad after their study in Nigeria may seem to be a little deterred with the new guidelines that mandate applicants seeking verification of certificates from nursing boards outside Nigeria to have worked in Nigeria for 2 years from the date of issuance of permanent practicing license. Opeyemi Benedict, a 300-level nursing student, plans to study overseas after completing her education in Nigeria. She claims not to have been motivated by what she has experienced so far at hospital wards as a student nurse. Opeyolua describes the new guidelines as unjust.
But then, to me, I feel it's unjust, it's unfair. On we, the generation, like the new gen nurses that are coming up and the ones that just finished their studying, I feel it's unfair, it's not practical. For the health sector, we don't have the facilities for it. If you look at the environment, it is not even fair. It is poor. It's a very poor, conducive environment. What I meant to know is that it's enough to for patients. But yeah, you can see like just 2 nurses with over 20 patients. Me as an upcoming nurse, like a student nurse that is learning from my seniors, I am not motivated by this at all. Sometimes whenever I just put on my scrub, I'm like, another day to meet patients. I am really not motivated. But if I have facilities, if I have like things that will motivate me, that will encourage me to, okay, come to work every day.
Meanwhile, the Nmcn has responded to several outrages, including protests that have been emanating from Nigerian nurses. The body, through its registrar, Farouk Abubakar, maintains that the new guidelines were introduced due to the complaints about nurses not following due process. Toby Sanusi, Western Spring Television News.